Recording to the cloud, and I am now going to share the screen. Here we go. And it's time for the spiel. Welcome everyone to the February 16th MicroProfile live Hangout. A link to the meeting minutes is in the chat. Please click on the link and add your name as a contributor, as you see on the screen, and optionally add your organization as well. It is everyone's shared responsibility to take notes. This meeting is being recorded, will be uploaded to YouTube along with the chat. Okay. All right. So for today's agenda, again, I'm putting the working group first over the releases because, oops, let's see. NJR, do we know who NJR is? Waiting in the waiting room?
Oh yeah, that's Nathan.
That's Nathan.
Ah, okay. Thank you. I'll admit here. Okay, so we have a soft deadline basically of today to have a program plan.
It was a hard deadline, man.
It said soft in the meeting minutes.
I missed that.
So
was soft. Let me correct in here. It was soft. I actually threw it out there a month ago thinking that we could do it, but we really committed. We didn't commit to it as a steering committee. So it's soft. Yeah,
so what I would like to do is kind of forego, and we have some other important topics, so don't get me wrong, is to kind of forego some of those other topics, put this as the priority, hopefully finish up the slide deck, and this week kind of kick off the vote on the program plan after this call, hopefully finish it up. Does that sound okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so with that in mind, we've got the community voices we talked about last week, and we all, kind of divvied up the responsibilities of creating, taking that feedback and adding them to slides. And there's a couple of slides here you can already see that aren't done. We can, they may not even be needed, which is why I didn't try and fill them in. So let's, I guess, maybe begin with the feedback. And I don't recall who signed up for each slide ownership. So if you owned up for this slide, volunteered for the slide, please kind of lead the discussion for this slide. Did anyone sign up for this one?
Yeah, no, I don't know about that one. I'm derelict in my duties, but I will try to get done. Can you put the slide in the chat, the slide link?
Oh, yes, thank you very much. I can do that. It is in the meeting minutes as well.
Okay.
Let's see here.
I will look there.
Yeah, this gets back to
presentation. Got it.
Yep.
And I will put it in the chat. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's also good for the notes that goes up to YouTube as well.
Okay.
Okay, so if no one volunteered for this particular slide, I don't think there's anything controversial here, right? Deliver MicroProfile releases. Again, these are kind of like the top level goals. Work for Jakarta EE9 alignment through the CN4J Alliance, and I'm going to admit Sharon here. Create and grow the MicroProfile compatibility brand, grow the MicroProfile working group members, committers, and opportunities for participation, like owning these slides, for example, a slide. Growing marketing committee membership. That's when I stuck in because we have, newer working group members, and it'd be great to have a representative on the marketing committee, and then deliver the inaugural budget. Is there anything like a top level goal that we're missing?
Yes, it's missing. There is the MicroProfile Champions program that is included in the growth of the marketing, but it's not a committee. Do you see? We need to change the wording here to marketing committee membership. We don't have a committee, so it needs to be grow marketing participation, right?
Okay.
It's communication.
Here, how about this?
Yeah, participation, and then we need the MicroProfile Champions is going to be core to everything that MicroProfile does to thank our community, users and consumers, users and developers, and everyone that helps. So it needs to be here. Only I didn't get to these slides this morning, and I forgot last night. So apologies. I recommend we add the MicroProfile Champions as a core initiative for 2021 that is going to take.
Would that go under marketing?
And it is under marketing because it will use the budget and marketing, but it's beyond marketing. It's everything that we do as a project. So it zooms out to acknowledge everyone globally. So
Okay, so what's the wording that you're thinking of here?
MicroProfile champions program. That's it. One slide.
Establish?
Yeah, it will be established and we will do it together. MicroProfile champions program. That's it. And all, and you know.
Any other feedback on that? Okay. I think people seem to like that and agree with it. So let's, I'm going to move on to the next slide. Marketing activities. Is this one, who owns this one?
Debbie is not here. Yesterday during the MicroProfile marketing call, we chatted about the documents and she agreed to volunteer to summarize the feedback provided in the document. And the feedback provided is here. We have 2 slides, one that was previously done. John, if you go to level 4, that is the one that we did even before we opened the document for gathering community feedback. So the formalized one is number 3, and the 4 is which, like things we did before talking to the community. And I thank Debbie for doing a wonderful job on the summary on slide 3.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to split them up this way in terms of pre and kind of post.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way we can kind of combine these into a single slide? Or sorry, is there any overlap between these 2 slides?
There is. Yes, there is. I can clean it, but I wanted to show in this call what we had before and what we have now. And I can own that since I own this slide to say I would follow the process. So I can do the cleanup. But I wanted to show before and after because it's important.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, since we don't have a lot of slides, I'm going to kind of let people read these. Oh, is there comments?
Tetiana worked on the forum, by the way. She's here. She actually worked.
Sorry, there is someone speaking in the background. I apologize.
And it's not clear.
Tetiana, we don't hear you.
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that was like a list of activities that can be done during the year. I made this list just like before we were gathering the feedback from community. So for sure, if something like was added or deleted, we can like move away some parts of this slide. There is no problem with that. Or, for example, we can have this text for some internal document, like some plan, more like plan activities. And in this presentation, we can have like general steps and general overview of the activities that are going to be done.
Mm-hmm. Tetiana, because you did number 4 and you did it beautifully, I emailed you after a call and I threw you under the bus as a volunteer. Do you want to clean between this one and the other one? Because we can move it to the drive, but because you owned it so beautiful, number 4, do you want to clean between the 2 and find not compatible, but a way to unify them? Do you want to do that?
Yeah, sure, I can do.
Well, can I make an alternate proposal? I think we're going to have time on this call if we focus on this particular action item, the program plan, where we can kind of finish this off live during the call.
Will be amazing.
Over these next, where we don't necessarily have to go offline to do it, because then it's just going to push the vote out even further, I think. We do kind of have a soft deadline today. Would it be okay if we do that?
Fine with me.
Yes, let's do this.
Okay, and that'll also give David time to work on his slide.
Okay, especially that.
I think he's working on it.
Which is awesome. Okay, so a bullet number 1, create a champions program and reward individuals and organizations educating. So I'll be honest, I think this is covered here. I don't really think do we need it here in this slide?
Yes, because it's zoom out. I will fight on this one.
Okay, all right. Next one, include a list of working implementations with each MP release that can be used to try the new capabilities of that release. So would this basically mean, let's see here. So this isn't just at launch, because sometimes at launch of a new release, implementations don't necessarily have, aren't ready, right? So this is like throughout the life of a release, just add a list of working. Don't we already do this?
Yeah, we have a page on the wiki where we indicate each implementation that successfully runs the TCK.
Do we think we do a good job of keeping that up to date?
It's the vendors or the owners itself that need to update or at least let us know, because we have no idea who passes, of course.
Right. I think for this, if I read across the line, it's kind of the people who, the person put this request is want MicroProfile to promote the implementations. Says I think with our compatible implementation process, this might be would be kind of no op. So when you click on the link, you see the page straight away.
Now, our current policy, correct me if I'm wrong, so this is as much a question as it is a statement, is we do allow vendors on the MicroProfile blog to talk about their support of a release, right?
Yes. Yeah, we do. I think this is the ask of MicroProfile community to publicly talk about the implementations. Basically say, hey, we have 2 implementations, and then like 1 month later we have 3 implementations.
So what we're saying is that we should occasionally, so this might be something that we have as a recurring GitHub issue, Amelia, in the marketing group, to do a refresh of what supports, what releases are supported. Now the examples is a different story, and I think there might be a bullet on the next slide about examples.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Chandra chose to develop that one, and he's very happy to help facilitate that, lead that bullet. But in the level of how we allowed the technical communities that create the code and use the code needs to be tackled, so that we not only document how they can write the blogs as we do the general release, but also how users can join and say, hey, I want to tell you how I'm using MicroProfile in these 2 pages. We need to create templates for case studies and all these things. So all of it is included here, and it's very vague. Okay,
good. Next bullet, create use cases showing how MicroProfile is implemented by various projects. Does that mean used by various projects? Or how vendors implement a spec?
I interpreted this client use cases. So then we shouldn't use implemented here.
Okay, so is it, sorry. So it's how MicroProfile is used by various projects.
Basically, yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
We can look for a more fancy word, but I think this is it.
Okay.
I have
Great
to
use
say,
cases.
I really like how, let me interject here. I really like how Debbie chose really simple words on the summary. I really want to protect that. Let's protect that. Super simple. It's very generic. Let's do like that, please.
So do you want me to go back and use implemented?
Yes, please. It's just
I think implemented is kind of not right word though. You could interpret it like implementations like open liberty or the like small right implement this spec. But
that's how I interpreted it as well.
Yeah, so I think it's better to use used.
Okay, we will have to use the word used twice in the sentence. It's okay.
Point taken.
Let's use adopted.
Adopt, yes.
There we go.
My
Edward
native
Dirks is now a marketing. He's officially earned his marketing badges there.
and I'm native English immediately.
All right, co-marketing. Let's move on. Co-marketing with Jakarta E via CN4J Alliance to educate community regarding how the two are aligned, right? How differences are intentional and how it strengthens. I'm going to try and stay away from MicroProfile. Since this is a formal document, sorry, I'm going to replace.
Yeah.
Don't ask me why I didn't do global search and replace because I have no idea. Okay.
Good call, JC.
Okay. Any additional comments on this slide?
Let's rewrite Cloud Native for Java and not have it be as you did MicroProfile. Let's write the full name.
We
Also,
call it, well, I think the official name is CN4J Alliance.
Yeah, I think that's fine. You missed the one, John, on the first blade one.
Oh, thank you. Okay. All right. I'll move on to the next slide. Again, I'm going to kind of remove this distinction. If we have to, we'll combine some of these with the previous slide as well, if there happens to be overlap.
Should we
All right,
also-
website.
Should we also move the slide about community outreach closer to marketing? Because it seems to me it's also like community outreach is partially
Yeah, okay. Like
the
that.
same. Yeah,
Okay. All right.
because I see that even for example, from use cases, this can be more to community outreach.
Okay. So yeah, I did move it up one. I think that makes sense. So website. More explanation on the homepage and FAQ, for instance, add video presentations, right? Okay, so just general ways to improve the website. I think that's good. Content marketing, create guides, how to use cases and presentations. I think this is the example that Chandra was giving, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
he also put an infrastructure section, so it's duplicated there, and we can just go ahead and maybe we make a dedicated website page, or maybe anyway, keep going.
Okay. And influencer marketing, ask people, companies known in the market to make webinars, videos, right?
Part of the
Blog coverage. Yep.
It's part of the Champions program. All of it pretty much is part of the Champions program. We're just outlining the goals now.
You know, one thing we could do that Jakarta does is they kind of have their program plan being updated quarterly. One of the things that we could do is once we get this going and we start following this, because well, I don't want to get too sidetracked. We can actually update this and reorganize it, for example, next quarter, right? And create a website slide, create a champion slide if we want to.
Sure.
Hey, John, what Jakarta has been doing is creating the program plan and then creating a companion document that has the quarterly objectives, and then reviewing the quarterly objectives and progress against them on a quarterly basis.
Can you, in the meeting minutes, Paul, provide a link? Is that public?
I think it is, yeah.
I don't remember. Can you provide a link to that maybe? If you can
Yep.
grab that?
Yep.
Yeah, just append it to this line I'm showing here. See, if you join the call, it's audience participation.
I've got another comment to make, but I'm waiting for it.
Oh, okay. All right. So sorry, I need to go back here. Event marketing. So that one's kind of a no-brainer. How we're going to do event marketing. Which events we sponsor and, you know, proactively engage in with speakers and everything. Social media and forums. Spread content to forums like Reddit, Stack Overflow, create catching images.
Catching images, let me correct in here. It means clear consent messaging that is so repeatable that it becomes the norm. We need to simplify
Okay.
the message. Catching, I left it there, but it really is about simplification of the message. Tetiana, I think you can inject in here and say,
Well, I was what I was meaning here is like, first of all, yeah, with some clear message, and secondly, with some images that catch the eye. I mean,
Okay, I got you now.
yes,
Okay.
yes. There you go. Tetiana, you rock, by the way.
But is
Okay.
it catchy images then?
Yeah.
maybe.
Is it,
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, English native speaker.
Sorry for my native English.
You're totally rocking it.
All right, I'm gonna move along. Sorry, just because we do have a lot of content here. In referral programs, offer current projects who use MicroProfile to spread the word by giving, by creating content or bringing other projects to the community in order to get giveaways or special offers. So this is for other projects, to adopt MicroProfile, like in terms of
This is like,
utilize specs.
Either adopt or, for example, spread the word about MicroProfile by creating the content, by, for example, participating in some online events and talking about MicroProfile and like evangelizing MicroProfile, I would say.
Okay.
So for that, they can get some stuff, and not only maybe from MicroProfile like T-shirts or something, but maybe from the companies who are involved in MicroProfile committee, and some,
Okay.
I don't know, every company can figure out what they can provide. Like, for example, Jelastic can give some free hosting or whatever.
Okay.
It's not as specific, but Tetiana, you nailed it also here on not only do we have the budget from the working group, but also individually, we can support a way to distribute, hey, we're going to do this, and highlight what each partner or organization like a job is doing. And this will be enabled in the resources branding page and the website as well, so that anyone, any place in the world can reach out to MicroProfile and know that we're listening and we're ready to help.
Yep. Okay, so there's a lot of goals here, and we do not have enough participation in the marketing group, in my opinion, to accomplish all of these goals. So I'm just going to reiterate, and we don't have to dig into it right now, but for folks interested on the marketing side, check out the MicroProfile calendar and attend the MicroProfile marketing calls, because I think that we're going to need it. There's a lot here. All right, so I'm going to move on. Community outreach goals. So continue with our open meetings, open communication, right? That's good. Establish a first-time participation badge and associated announcements. And associated announcements, is that announcing someone new has participated, or what does that mean?
Yeah, this actually, this feeds off of a comment that David made. So
Okay.
when there is a first-time participant, I mean, actually Tommy does a very good job of this when there's a new PR created by a new person. And so I think, building upon something like that for MicroProfile to try and encourage participation. And then he even pointed out, like, since all of our meetings here are recorded, then if it's announced during our meeting, we could even put out little blurbs, just a short little announcement that so-and-so did their first, PR or first issue or whatever. So
yeah, I actually think that's a very good idea.
Announcements.
And this would also tie back into, I think, the marketing aspects. And I don't want to go back and revisit that, but
right,
a lot of stuff we do ties back to marketing. But
yes,
okay.
Yes, definitely. And you'll see some of that stuff coming up here, especially like the last bullet here, a central location.
I should have, and I apologize for interrupting. I apologize if I stepped over someone's shoes. Did someone own this slide?
I did.
Take over the slide, Kevin. I apologize. I was just it's the caffeine, man.
Nope. I just I just pulled a lesson from David, and I just did this. So all that I ended up doing, was looking at the previous comments that we received and tried to consolidate them. I know I may have glossed over some of them, but I think I got the main items. So third bullet, continue to encourage participation across the wider community. I know Rudy, I think he had a comment about trying to get more of the community involved and not just the working group members. And that's a valid comment, but we don't want to say that the working group members cannot, you know, encourage or come up with new features and propose things. So I'm just kind of widening that a little bit to say, you know, the wider community. So whether you participate on these weekly calls or you're on our mailing list or the Google group or however you participate, you know, continue. That's what I mean by this.
I agree with that. And
okay, so encourage individual component participation at the specification level. I think where this one was getting at is that, you know, we have these weekly calls and we can't really dive into specifics, whether it's related to config or tracing or whatever, because we always have something to fill this hour. So try to encourage more participation at the specification level. And I know many of the teams have their own little hangouts that they do. I don't know if it's once a week or every other week, but maybe just try to advertise those more and try to get more participation from the groups that might be interested. Someone else had suggested the next bullet. They actually liked this simple form. You know, there's a Google Doc and it's free format. Go out and put your ideas out there. And they liked that, so that instead of having to, you know, have a complicated questionnaire that you have to fill out all these different values and submit it and trying to keep it anonymous and all that stuff, just keep it simple and make it easy to submit ideas. And so they like that idea. So that would be another way to try and get more community involvement. And then the last bullet there, this goes right back to the marketing stuff. And having a central location for promoting all the blogs, the articles, the videos, the products that consume and utilize MicroProfile, and then having an incentive for people to provide that that material would be even better.
Any comments?
Beautiful.
Okay, the only comment I'll make is I apologize if I took over the marketing slides. Like I kind of said, okay, whoever owns the slides, talk to them, and then I just started talking over the marketing one. So I apologize if that was, I know it was Debbie, but since she's not here, you know, Tetiana or Amelia could have, and I just kind of went with it, and I apologize for that.
John, you didn't stop us. Tatiana spoke. Tatiana, do you feel that John quieted you down?
No, not at all.
All right, awesome. All right.
I couldn't get a word in edgewise.
11, so I'm happy. Yeah.
Okay, I got to stop drinking coffee before these calls. Okay.
John.
Yes.
I have one more question. Not trying to derail the whole discussion, but do we now or ever want an official developer advocate or something? Someone that really represents the framework, like Ivar does for Jakarta?
Official
Is
what?
that something? A developer advocate?
No.
Oh,
What-
no, we don't want any. We already have it in our charter, I believe, that we're not looking to have any hires on
No.
the project.
Oh, I didn't necessarily mean hires, more a representative from a
Community
technical
volunteer.
perspective.
Oh, Edwin.
Anybody can volunteer for any role. I mean, you know,
Yes.
Okay.
we
And
could have
then-
a
maybe-
list. We could have. Anyway, I would. The answer is yes. We can have several of those people.
That is where the champions comes in. There is not one person, but many, and they will be highlighted.
Is that the idea? Okay, well,
It's
fine
great.
with me, but it was just
No,
thinking
no,
about it.
question.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good. I think it's a good suggestion. But instead of a singular, we could have plural. We could have many. Enable as many people as possible to do that.
I see you as a champion, Edwin. I see Emily, Rudy, Kevin, John, Tatiana, everyone as a champion. We need to scale and bring others beside us. That is what a champion does. It's not highlight itself, but others, and be behind those ones. And that is the job we're hoping to do with the champions, much more formalized.
Okay.
All right. So there was a lot of feedback to use GitHub pages, and didn't specifically call retire the Groovy based stuff. I did, so there was a lot of interest in getting that done. Much of this stuff has to do with marketing stuff. So, you know, there was a call out that we need to increase the specification metadata that we're putting on the pages on the website. We had talked about having a page dedicated to each version of each specification. We didn't actually execute that yet, so we should do that. Then there was multiple suggestions around aggregating guides, examples, and getting started type of material that we have in various external locations into the website. And then there were a couple suggestions about making content that's dedicated to, you know, specific personas of people. Like, I'm a new user, I'm a new developer, I'm going to go to, you know, a dedicated page and I'm going to get everything that I want from there. So like basically landing pages and stuff like that. Similar for people who are decision makers. You know, why should I choose MicroProfile for my company, you know, my team, that kind of thing. And there were a lot of comments about there's not enough code on the websites. So we have a see the code link, does not point to code, points to projects. So it's basically comments of stop forwarding me around to different locations, just show me some darn code much sooner. And then a comment that we should have a sitemap that includes basically all the links available on the website. So, you know, you can just go there and see what there is available on the MicroProfile website and get to the place you want. So we have a menu, but maybe it doesn't include all the links. So, you know, so that was the high level perspective of the website goals and infrastructure goals. It wasn't a lot of strictly infrastructure goals, because the question did mention website specifically. So,
Any additional comments?
Infrastructure goals we think we need to address that weren't necessarily question related?
Well, I mean, to do a lot of these repair, not the WordPress part of the website, but the other backend first. David?
Oh, to yank out, yeah. So to yank a lot of that groovy stuff out and replace it with GitHub pages. Yeah, I think that one's definitely up there in the top of the list.
And then we can start chipping away at these other improvements, I think, for sure.
Do we have build infrastructure needs or anything of the sort? Do we have new release infrastructure needs because we're staging releases longer? Any thoughts that we should consider for this year?
I don't think I understand the question, David.
Do we have infrastructure needs to make these projects, to make our specification projects function better?
Yeah, I will prefer, I mean, maybe it's just like a personal preference, but I feel that using Jenkins for the build tool and publishing releases, it's quite, probably heavy is not the right word, but I think it's really hard to customize it and change stuff around it. We have been using SM projects, at least for building GitHub Actions. And I think we should also use them to the releases. So in essence, what I'm trying to say is that I will prefer if we consider to move the Jenkins builds and Jenkins pipelines for releases for GitHub Actions at each project specifically.
I will add to that also it will be nice to have a review from the Eclipse infrastructure team. Just as a general feedback coming from the Apache side of the fence, I have seen a lot of comments and recommendations around security for GitHub Actions being more new compared to Jenkins. I like the approach of GitHub Actions. I'm not against what you're saying, but just to add there that it may require a prerequisite of having the blessing from Eclipse Foundation infrastructure, because at some point it will require some kind of setup, I guess.
Well, I mean, depends on how you want to set it up, but usually it's GitHub
We're just getting goals at this moment, so you guys can work on it together when this comes up. So we're just collecting goals. Are there any other goals that we may be missing from an infrastructure perspective?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to move on to the next one, and that is technical goals. So is this Emily?
Yeah, so I can start, and then Adam, when you can add any, and Roberto, you can add anything I missed. So it's we look at all the questions. So basically, it's for the tracing. We discussed this last year. Like we want to either deprecate the current open tracing, or rework the current MicroProfile open tracing, and then adopt open telemetry. The good news is open telemetry had a 1.0 release. So really we need to get started with the kind of experiment. So we should pull in open telemetry and work on it. And the other thing is the metrics. So again, we discussed the adoption of the micrometer. I think his MicroProfile metrics has started doing some experiment. So I think this is also requested by the community. And also there's some other kind of new spec ideas like converters. So it's quite a few spec. Although MicroProfile config has some converters, so convert a string to other types. However, other specs also need this kind of converter kind of functionality. So it's better to have a separate converter spec. The fourth bullet point is MicroProfile and Jakarta EE alignment. Is hopefully we can get more kind of guidance from CN4J conversation. Hopefully that can be communicated very soon. So the fifth bullet point, gRPC. So is also there's a request to create a new spec to support gRPC. For the next slide,
And sorry, I'm just going to insert one thing here. I added, just to let you know, Emily, I added push versus pull because in the comments in the community voice document, Rudy brought up push versus pull as part of the discussion. So I thought it'd fit on this slide, in this bullet. So I moved it here.
Okay, that's fine. So I think it's like these all the options, move, fork, push, and pull, and etc. And then, however, with the new guidance from CN4J, maybe some options not valid anymore. So we can kind of, when it comes to implementation, we can revise it. So for the second slide, Adam, or Roberto, do you want to take it over?
Yeah, I can say something. Maybe I should take the last one because that was kind of mine, and Roberto can take the first two.
Was it Roberto you called out to, Emily?
Oh, yeah. I don't want to, I mean, because I think three of us did this slide. Okay. I don't want to like make me feel I have done everything. So
I was just, I thought I heard you call out to Roberto, but I was.
Oh yeah. So I just give a chance to Roberto to talk as well.
So Edwin, do you want to start first?
Yeah, sure. I'll take the last bullet.
Sure.
There are desires and discussions about which versions of Java MicroProfile should support. So we want to make it more clear, I think, in a general sense, what the software stack of a MicroProfile application should be to make it cloud native in an easy way, but providing more than just the code or the code examples. I think that we can maybe create Docker images, or we can see how far we have to go, but there's, I think, more meat on the bones than just the specification that we provide with the starter. I think that's the main thread of that bullet point.
Okay, a couple of other things that we discussed was about adopting, or at least trying to consider another alignment with the other Jakarta specifications than the ones we're already using. So one, for instance, is the annotation spec, which is already used specifically coming from CDI. But for instance, if you want to use config as a standalone without CDI, you do require the annotations API anyway. So that's something which we'll consider adding. Then other things that was one of the points that I brought up, and was even discussed briefly in one of the other meetings, was about bean validation. So I believe that we could either bring bean validation to MicroProfile, or at least clarify on the specs, additional integration with bean validation, and a couple of candidates are, of course, configuration, JOT, OpenAPI. Those three specs will definitely benefit a lot if they're able to integrate with bean validation, either by specifying them on the spec with TCKs, or either by pulling bean validation into MicroProfile directly and then integrate directly with those as well. And then there was a couple of comments about database, and the idea was either, again, I remember that JPA was discussed to be added initially, but we refrained to do it. So maybe we should take some of this opportunity to discuss that again if we want to push JPA. So there seems that some people would like to have a proper way to do database access on microservices and MicroProfile. Right now, if they want to do that, they definitely have to use Jakarta stuff and go to a full-blown server, unless the MicroProfile implementation does give you JPA or some other way. So that's something that we should definitely discuss and figure out.
Okay, any comments basically on these two slides combined?
Did the technical goals include moving to the new packaging in Jakarta E9?
That could definitely be a technical goal.
I think it should be, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that there is part on the Jakarta alignment on the first slide.
Right, but that's just through the alliance. That's not a technical goal.
Agree. We should just put it there in the technical goal.
Yeah.
You know, when I read,
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh, second.
Really quickly, because we have 30 minutes to go. What I wonder is this technical feedback. There was very little about adapting other technologies aside from Jakarta and.
It has, like a micrometer and also the open telemetry that's adopt other technologies.
Only two. Can we have that?
No, you have gRPC as well.
Yeah, and the gRPC, yeah, true.
Okay.
So
consider
from four things that we want to push new, there's three that are different technologies. So I don't really understand that comment that we're not adopting.
No, I mean, okay, so this is really good. So then so we have three, I thought it was three technologies, and it's great. Is there a way for us to say adapt? We have it in technology adaption, right? But in the first page, John, can you go to the number 7, please? And thank you so much for sharing. You see, it doesn't, not once in that page says adapt. Can we add adapt?
No, the second,
adopt open telemetry.
Yeah, like adopt open telemetry.
Oh, I lost
it. And then says rework MicroProfile.
It's the first word of the bullet.
Yeah. And then second bullet point, another adopt.
Yeah.
You want me to make it bold?
I guess so. I'm blind. Thank you so much. Let's move on.
Well, I had one more comment. What about LRA? I don't think it's ever become 1.0.
What was that?
Have that already as a
LRA.
stand. We have that already as a standalone. Do you mean to include it in the core then?
It's not, at least my read of the spec is it's still 0 dot something. Do we want to make it a 1.0?
Well, we are
It
in the
does seem
process
like
of
it should
doing
be a
it.
technical goal, deliver LRA, or
Actually, it's
Uh,
already staged, and we are working now on Ariana to pass CCR requirements. So it should be, the ballot should be starting in following week or so.
So it seems like it should be here because that's a good, I think that's a good goal.
I think we need to be careful. In the past, we have been like pushing model. So when the spec is ready and ready to release, even we list open telemetry and micrometer here, but we don't guarantee they will be released this year. So basically, that will be worked on. We don't really want to put a goal saying this year we need to release MicroProfile open telemetry. I think when it's ready. So yeah,
but it sounds like it's ready.
yeah, it's ready. I think it will be ready, and then I don't think it's kind of make any difference writing in here.
Comments?
I just have one comment. Maybe it's philosophical. So MicroProfile, micro is the key word. If these goals is not really micro. So we are adding a lot of stuff to MicroProfile and it becomes bigger. We have huge plans and it looks more like a copy of Jakarta more and more.
Can we bring this up in the next slide? Because there's a topic that I have.
Okay.
It's related to, this is very specifically related to growing pains.
Okay.
Which is covered in the next slide. Yeah, and then we can just chat about it there, just so we have the full context.
So the purpose of the technical goals is not to list the specs that we think need to get over to make some progress, or it's just, I'm sorry, I was lost on the response to my question.
I think this is pipeline, so it's kind of the forward thinking thing.
Well, the way I look, because it's already ready and it's not in discussion, I think adding it as a technical goal is fine. Some of the ones that are more abstract, like converters, gRPC, right? We need to discuss to see if it should even be there. We've already agreed LRA should be there. It's ready. And I think because of its current state, that I'm perfectly okay with adding it as a technical goal.
I mean, yeah, we should.
My 2 cents.
If our intentions are to get it out the door this year, we should write it down, right? Like, I don't even know what that.
Take credit for it. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, we can make a goal.
Yeah, right. I mean, we should stick it in there. There's room.
Check it out.
Box down, you can fit a bullet in.
Yep. And check it out when it's done. Yay, thank you.
So it sounds like we have 2 edits to make to this. Edwin, I think you were going to add the namespace. And Emily, are you okay if we add LRA as a goal?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for. I think Edwin's currently adding these either here or the next one. All right, and Dave.
I did it in the first one.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you. Where's the namespace one?
Yeah, I hope I rephrased it correctly. Rebase on Jakarta E9 subsequent releases,
here we go.
including the namespace, but not necessarily only the namespace, right?
Okay, gotcha. Okay, if it's okay, I'm going to move on to the next one, just given time. I'm going to go, except for this discussion around Dimitri's point. So what Dimitri's bringing up is specifically what we talked about starting in 2018 that we put on pause because of the working group creation. So
2017, John. Even
was
early.
it 17? Was that far back? Okay, so growing pains discussion. Yeah, so the issue potentially was, gee, we're building a lot of specs. Micro doesn't the microprofile doesn't refer to the size of the platform or the number of specs. It literally is around microservices focus. So the growing pains was two things. One is, could it be considered heavy? Right? So to Dimitri's very specific point, the number of specs might have it being perceived as heavy, which is one of the reasons why we kind of hit the second aspect, which is perhaps we should consider having a core set of specs. Well, there's various options, right? And I don't necessarily want to get into all of them. But for example, have a core spec and standalone specs, which is where we're at today. Is the core set the appropriate set? Do we need to revisit that? Possibly. Maybe we have no platform spec. Maybe we have profiles within microprofiles, for lack of a better word. I think we call them groupings or groups or something. But regardless, the whole idea was, it's like, okay, let's go off and kind of revisit our specifications. Oh, and I apologize. One of the major things about having kind of a core set of specs is because we didn't want new implementations to have this super high bar to pass in order to say they're microprofile compatible, right? So if you got 15 specs or 10 specs or whatever, that's awfully high if you're a new implementation. If we could set some kind of bar that enables new implementations to have some definition of compatibility, we thought that was pretty important. So that's what the growing pains discussion was. And so Dimitri, that's the context of kind of how I was thinking about this regarding your comment. And I don't know if you have any kind of follow-up thoughts.
No, I don't have any follow-up thoughts. I was just expressing concern, and it looks like you're already thinking about that. You already know about this, so we should just continue, working on how to solve it and find a solution which will make everybody happy.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Dimitri. Yeah, we. This has been a pain point for a while, so you've definitely hit the nail on the head. Revisit micro. So this is my slide, which is why I'm kind of running with it here. Revisit microprofile compatibility and what its requirements are. So that does tie into the growing pains. And I think Paul's added the slide that we'll get to here in a minute. Another one is streamline the release processes. So this might, well, somewhat tie into the pipeline that was discussed earlier as a technical thing, but this is especially true also for process, right? So for example, how can we streamline micro releases, for instance? And the last one is encourage more innovation, new specifications. If we think this is already covered enough in the technical slides, we can remove this one.
No, please.
But this was there.
I think it's important.
Okay.
We need to keep reminding people that we have a sandbox that anybody can contribute to. And, well, we want to encourage as many crazy ideas as we can possibly attract. So.
Do we need to do any work with the release process and TCKs and compatible implementations that are demonstrating that the spec is achievable? Does that need to be expressed here anywhere?
I think we do. There was a good conversation that was happening between Martin, Nathan, and myself about one aspect of that.
Should it be a goal? Seems like that should be a goal.
It's streamlined.
I don't know if this is the right.
Covered.
Well, that's actually complicating it, isn't it? I mean.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Is it not already also part of that revisit microprofile compatibility? So to define how and.
Yeah, I thought it was included.
I think that came back to, I think it's a combination of a couple of things. It's partially growing pains. Should we consider what constitutes the core? I think another aspect of what was implied behind that is things like, well, do you have to be compatible with CDI, JAX-RS, and the JSON ones, right? Also fits under that, right? Because technically those TCKs are not a part of this platform, a part of MicroProfile, right? And that was kind of the discussion. And so we've never really finished that discussion. So that's how I saw that bullet.
Well, there's also, well, so is it a requirement that there be a compatible implementation that goes on, that's available at the time of the release?
Yeah, that's already there.
We haven't done that, have we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do it. But let me interject here. We
What?
have 1
Well,
minute.
sorry,
Whoa, whoa,
a lot
whoa.
of it's like small rye, for instance, for
Are they list? I mean, I thought there was a whole bunch of discussion before we made the push for 4.0 to sort of just put a bunch of that process stuff on hold.
There's no
right? So-
platform, but each individual specification has an implementation.
But there is a 4.0 spec that says all of these constitute 4.0 or whatever version, right? So is it, so does, in, I mean, I guess it wasn't clear to me that with 4.0 we had accumulated all of the what we would have done like the Jakarta, that we'd
Well,
accumulated all
my
of that
understanding was
along with
that
the release. Have we, if we've done that, we don't need to make it a goal.
No, I think we discussed that we would at a future date want to make a decision on whether or not we want to keep doing marketing releases or actually make that kind of a platform release, and we just need to continue that conversation.
So
I think
then we have to include it here.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
I kind of think we need a slide dedicated to the specification process.
So let me say something here. It's 12 o'clock.
Work.
It's 12 o'clock. I wonder if we can take 10 more minutes for those of you who have no calls right now to start the slide and maybe add the releases slide. Can we finish this? Is the question that I have for all of you today.
and while you're considering that, I did add a slide on branding and compatibility program.
In full, I saw it just now, and I thought it was great. The thing that why we didn't add it to this is because that is something that we must do. It's just taken for granted. So we just
it's good for us to
There's
have it
more
there.
detail in here than needs to be here, but I just wanted to show you some of the pieces, and it does tie back to the discussion you're just on right now as well.
Yes. So the question that I have is, can we take 10 minutes more and to tackle?
Yeah, let's let Paul give his do the slide.
You want me to walk through the slide?
Yes,
please.
Sure.
Okay. I mean, what we've got here is really just, I whipped it up based on how we do it. And it needs to be customized and instantiated based on the needs of MicroProfile and compatibility. There will be a logo, and you've spoken about creating a logo within the community. And then we need to create a branding and trademark guidelines, which says when you can use a logo and what steps you've got to fulfill in order to use it. And that's going to tie back to some of the discussions that we're just having. You will likely want a usage handbook for that logo, how it can be placed, where it can be placed, colors, and so on. And that would be created. The logos, of course, and the trademarks that are associated with the program need to be registered worldwide, just as we've done them with Jakarta. And there will need to be a formal trademark license agreement that parties have to enter into in order to use the logo and stay in compliance with it while they are using the logo. And then you'll need to come up with an approach for listing of compatible implementations. And that ties back to what we're talking about now, the individual specifications and profile, the platform spec, should there be one. And then different ways of communicating compatibility. With Jakarta, of course, there's a compatible products page. And then there's a set of steps called get listed for showing up on that page. There's the specification pages that can list compatible implementations. And then there's also self-declared compatibility, where if you run the TCK, pass the TCK publisher results, are in compliance with the Eclipse Foundation TCK process or TCK license, then you can talk about being compatible. And I know there's some variations of all of the above that need to get worked on for MicroProfile. This is really just the framework that we've got to work with in order to turn it into the branding and compatibility program that this working group wants.
Yeah, so Paul, thanks for bringing this up. I think it was embedded too deeply in other bullets, so I'm glad you kind of up-leveled it here to its own slide.
Mhm.
I mean, you could just keep it as one bullet, and this could go into the back. I just wanted to put it all out there for those that haven't lived it in Jakarta.
Yes.
Just to make it clear that there's a number of moving pieces that need to get worked on in order to come up with a formal program.
Right. Not,
Oh,
it's
thank
not
you.
just a simple checkbox.
We had it as a checkbox, like Kevin said, and having it like this is even better because we haven't any Git issues, but now we need to get it done. So thank you so much. It's really nice.
So I'm going to go back and revisit the platform spec because it's bringing up a very good point.
It's the specification process. You want to click that slide?
Oh. David?
Yep. Yeah. So there it is right there. That's reach a decision on the status of the MicroProfile platform. Is it a specification with the TCK and compatible mutation, or is it marketing only? Right. We just want to make a decision there sometime this year.
Yeah, we did it for 4.0 as a marketing release just on expediency.
But that was not a long-term decision. So.
Right. So Ed's bringing up a very good point. We haven't at the spec level, we did have compatible implementations. At the platform level, we tended not to do that. So this is a very good discussion for us to have. So.
And then I just simply wrote that we should really nail down the requirements for certification requests to be a little bit clearer because we got them kind of across the board on our previous release. So there was a thread on that, but we should write it down, make our decisions there. And then there were some issues pointed out by both Martin and Nathan around kind of discomfort putting releases up for API jars that may not ever get released. So there was a solution proposed, but we're out of time, so we don't need to go into it, but it's something we should address because it's been requested.
So do we take another day, 24 hours to add stuff for the specification in this slide, or?
I think if we reviewed everything, we should just button this up. We can expand as the year goes on.
Yep.
I agree.
Kevin.
Can we send it for a vote after this call? I'm really happy and impressed that we get this done today.
Me too. I don't think we're going to do it.
Yeah, I'm not worried about getting the slides done. I'm worried about getting what's done on the slides done.
We really struggle and fail together and be awesome and grow together. That's what we do and have done for the last 4.5 years. It's fun.
Okay, do we think we've had enough? I think we've had all the organizations. Is anyone here from the Garden State, Chug? So I think we're going to have to specifically kind of call out to them.
We'll just vote, give everybody a week to vote, and then we'll beat the deadline.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yep.
So I think what I might do is, let's see, well, I won't lock down the document. I mean, I'll go into history and see if people make changes, right? So let's
send the ballot. Send the ballot.
Once you put it up for vote, you do need to have a lockdown version.
Yeah, send the ballot.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Lock it down and send the ballot. I think we did amazing. And we have been working on this for a month, over a month. So
okay, so I will send this out later today, a ballot and the recording and everything.
Yep. I would say
متن و چیزه من میادی I have been developing.
Hello, Majid. We hear you. Go ahead. Majid, we hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Hello.
Maybe that's.
Hello,
There he
everyone.
is.
Hello, Amelia.
Hola Majid, go ahead.
It's my pleasure to join the MicroProfile Hangout, but I don't know how to can help this group. And
So I'll tell you what, Majid.
It's not
One
the
of the things that
first
we
time.
have. I'm sorry.
It's not the first time I joined this group, but I don't know how to can help this community. I've been working 10 years as a developer in Java, and I use the Java Enterprise Edition, and I want to change setting to Jakarta Enterprise. It's my information.
Okay, so I think what might help, just because we're out of time, that a very good
Okay.
way to get involved is to post a note to our Google group and say, hey, I'm new to MicroProfile, I'm willing to help. And I think if you look at this slide deck, we have a lot of things that we need to get done that we could use a lot of help with. So anything that you find interesting, just start asking questions in the Google group and we'll just start moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah, and Majid, I want
Pleasure.
to. Yeah, and I want to close with this and this side because Majid joined January's Friends of Jakarta call, and from that, because it's open in the community, I said, hey, MicroProfile is open, and you can come and struggle and say, I want to help, but I do not know how. And he came, and this is the second call he joined, and I really want to thank you, Majid, because you can help us document and make others like you join the program. If you struggle now in the project, you can help us document so that the questions that you have are documented in a manner that speak not only for you, but many others. So just write a question, document that, send a PR, and help on the process of becoming a microprofiler. And thanks for the time. It's really cool.
Okay. I try to answer all of the question to group, and question can help grow the community.
That's excellent.
We will help you help us.
Yeah, I would also suggest that.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a lot of goals to make materials that are useful for new people. And you can definitely try, as they're developed, you can try them out and let us know if they're any good, if they actually help you or not. That would be very, very valuable.
Okay.
And Majid,
My
thank you
pleasure.
very much for introducing yourself. It's just I'm being sensitive of the time here and people are dropping off. So thanks for introducing yourself, seriously. And let's have the conversation online. And I'll see everybody in 1 week.
Okay.
And thanks, everyone.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
So much.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Did you see my last note? Just maybe like a 24-hour period for people to.
Yeah, I saw you paste that in the chat.
Yeah. Cost us very little.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would still be a next Tuesday end date anyway of the
Yeah.
vote. So
We might be a day off, but it's all right.
okay. Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
All right. Talk to you later,
All right.
everybody.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.